Hey guys, how's it going? Today, got a brand new video about the 2010 Mac Pro and is it still worth it in 2016? Or 17, sorry. And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, it is. So, I bought this 2010 Mac Pro in June of 2017. Now, it started out as a 2.8 gigahertz quad-core Xeon, 6 gigs of RAM, and a 120 gig SSD drive, and a Radeon 5770, which I shortly replaced with a GTX 960 from my 2008 Mac Pro, which I purchased in 2015. Now, this setup lasted about a week before I started to notice that things were really not performing as they should. Now, especially since I do a lot of video editing now, I've noticed, a lot of file transfer speeds were going slow. And I noticed that was due to my SSD, which was still SATA based at the time. So what I did was install a SM951 PCIe SSD. Now, with the SATA SSD, I was getting read speeds and write speeds from 250 megabytes a second to around, I think it was 260 megabytes per second last time I checked. It was okay, for day-to-day tasks, but for heavy video editing and stuff like that, it just wasn't cutting it. So, after the SM951 PCIe attached SSD, I was looking at speeds of about 1,000 megabytes a second on the write, and on the read, about over 1,200 megabytes a second, which is insane. And this is the fastest SSD I've ever used in any of my Mac Pros. Now, on Geekbench 3, before the CPU and RAM upgrade, which I'll talk about in a second, it was scoring about 2,500 in the single it was scoring about 2,500 in the single score and 8,723 on the multi-core score, which is pretty respectable considering the age of the machine and the fact that it's still supported by Apple for the latest version of macOS. So, about 2 weeks later, I decided I want to do a big upgrade CPU and RAM. So, I took it from 6 gigs to 16 gigabytes, and I took the CPU from a 2.8 gigahertz quad core to a 3.46 gigahertz 6 core. After this upgrade, on Geekbench 3, 3,128 on the single core score, and on the multi-core score, it's scored about 14,306, which is a huge difference. Now, I'm still working on this machine as we speak today. I'm still trying to do a video card upgrade, which it definitely needs, because the GTX 960 is definitely starting to show its age, even in Final Cut, and it's not really optimized, but still, it's still very old. I have a lot of plans for this machine. I have a lot of storage upgrades planned for this machine. But this machine is very capable. It does the BruceX benchmark, which is a Final Cut Pro 10 benchmark, in about 1 minute and 30 seconds, which isn't bad, but I'm really being held back by my GTX 960. But if you upgrade these machines, to, something like a RX 580 or RX 570 or, Radeon 7970 or any, decent AMD card with a high memory bandwidth and a decent frame buffer, you're going to be cutting Final Cut. You're going to be editing videos with no problem, no stutter, no lag. I eventually will be doing an RX 580 or RX 570 or something equivalent to this machine. But yeah, this thing is great. This thing runs everything fantastic. It games when I want it to. It plays CS:GO, which is not really the most intensive game, but it plays it well on 4K settings. As Siri goes off in the background. It's a great machine. It's still worth it in 2017, I believe. Now, I will be doing more benchmarks in the future. I don't really have time to film any real benchmarks like Heaven Valley or anything like that. But if you want to see, benchmarks of the 2010 Mac Pro after the video card upgrade or before with the GTX 960, just please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.